Welcome back, everyone, to Sports Radio 810 WHB's Track Talk with the Racing Boys, brought to you by McCarthy Chevrolet in Olathe, Kansas. Check them out on the web at McCarthyChevyKC.com. Well, we talked about it a little bit earlier in the show, and he joins us now. Two-time World of Outlaw champion Jason Meyers joins us now. Jason, how you doing?
Doing well, thank you.
Thanks for taking the time to join us. Let's just start off with the breaking news. So many people, I think, are a little bit floored by the announcement that you are, and I don't want to use the word retire. I think we hear this word retire all the time, and I don't think that applies to what you have announced. You're going to cut back, and you're going to run 14 races this year, and that is all. You're going to call it the All-Star Appreciation Tour. First of all, take us back, and how did you determine that you were going to just do this 14-race deal, and why the change of plans at the last minute?
Well, there's when my wife and I decided to have kids, it's been almost 5 years ago now. I guess 6 years ago since we decided, and we always made the promise to ourselves that when it was time for our kids to go to school, that we would make the choice of being on the road or not be, and most likely it would be that we would not be, but it also depended on where the sport went and just how things went. And some things that happened over here this winter really forced us to sit down and look at where we were and where we were headed. We've discussed it for the last couple of years that this day was coming close, and when was going to be the time? When was going to be the time that we were going to step away and pursue other opportunities and create opportunity for our family to be home and together and do those types of things. And when we sat down this winter to kind of look at what our decisions were going to be to go forward and how we were going to do that, we really had to take a hard look at, hey, is it time? Is this the time that we've been kind of talking about and waiting for and trying to decide when and where? And really, at the end of the day, we just decided that it was time, that our daughter's going to start school 8 months from now, and it's time for us to start our life at home and get prepared for that, get prepared for what life is going to be, with our kids going to school. And I don't want to be an absent dad. I've always maintained the fact that I want to be home with my kids. I want to be there and be able to support them and be at their games and, do the things that a dad's supposed to do. And unfortunately, being from California and running the World of Outlaw Tour, it doesn't really give you that opportunity. So some changes have to come in our life to be able to make that possible. And we really felt that at the end of the day, the timing was right here and now to do that.
I'm going to speak with my own little experience. I'm going to throw it in here. Back in the early 90s, I traveled quite a bit, and my daughter was just getting old enough to speak. And I'll never forget the day I decided to get off the road. And I don't know if this has happened to you, and I'd appreciate it if you could share this moment with us. But I know the day that I decided that I wasn't going to be back on the road was when my daughter was on the phone and said, "Daddy, come home. When are you going to be home?" Have you ever had your daughter, young daughter, say that to you? And just take us through that, the emotions of having to give up one thing that you love so much, sprint car racing, but you're giving it up for something, your daughter, your kids, that mean far more to you than anything else on this planet. Just talk about that decision a little bit.
Well, I've been getting that for a couple of years.
Yeah,
Delaney's
right.
4.5 now. And
it's tough.
And when you call home and Robin says, "Do you want to talk to Dad?" and she gets on the phone and she said, "We're coming to the airport," and you have to explain to her that no, it's going to be 4 or 5 more days before you can come to the airport and get me. And
gut-wrenching.
That's tough, and it pulls at you, but it's it's part of what we do, and I always told people too that at the same point I spend 3 months on the road during the summer in a motorhome with my family with me all day, and how many dads get to do that?
Well, there's that, right.
There was benefits to it as well, but the problem is now once they start school, you can no longer do that. So it's just time. We're at a point now where look, my family, my wife, my parents, and my brothers and sisters, and everybody that's been close to me has supported what I've done over the past 10 to 15 years, and been there through every step of the way. And I've how many favors I owe to people. I'm going to spend the rest of my life repaying favors, but it's they've all stood behind me for so long and still stand behind me today if we wanted to continue. But it's time to live. We've lived for my dreams. My wife included has lived for my dreams for the last 10 years. And we were blessed and fortunate enough to accomplish those dreams. But now it's time to live for our children's dreams. We had children, and it's our duty to raise them and give them opportunity. And I really feel that, on the road, unfortunately, I don't feel like I can provide that opportunity for them. I can't be there to not only help raise them with my wife, but to give them the opportunities that they're going to need in life to be successful on all levels in their own life.
Yeah.
And it's just, we felt that it's that time, and it was a very, very tough decision, and not just because of what it does to our lives and how much I love the sport, but because of everybody involved, because of all my guys that worked with Elite Racing, and all of our sponsors and partners that have been involved with us for so many years. I mean, what does it do to those folks, and how do you make that right? And so that was, if you really look back at it, the decision to be at home is really, it was hard on us, but you look back at it, and it shouldn't have been. It's easy. I mean, you should be home with your kids. It's a very, very simple decision, really.
Right.
Hindsight's always 20/20, but the hard part of it was, how does it affect all the guys on the team, because they have families too. So how does it affect them, and how does it affect our partners that are involved with our team, and what does it do? So we worked really, really hard to make good on all of that, and make sure we could find places for everybody that they're taken care of well, and we've been able to do that, as well as we put this 14-race tour together for two reasons. Number one, we wanted to make sure we did something really, really good for all of our partners that have been involved with us and supported us over the years, and had also vowed to support us in our 2012 efforts. So we're really excited about running these 14 races, and just doing a great job for them, and really trying to, make a big deal out of this. And for all the fans that have supported us over the years, to do something nice for them, and be able to, end on a real good positive note with some fun. And we're going to try to do some neat fan interaction things through this tour to really just to end on a positive note, and do a great job for everybody, and make sure we wrap Elite Racing up the way it was meant to be, because we've always worked hard on our image, and we certainly don't want to mess that up here right at the end.
So how's Guy taking this, your car owner? I mean, is it was this something that you kind of prepared him for the last year or so? Did he see this coming? Tell us through that conversation how that all transpired, and how do you go to somebody and say, especially at this late stage, let's face it, surely he had to have an idea that this was going to happen.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Guy's been a big part of it. Guy is one of my nearest and dearest friends, probably my nearest and dearest friend, and right there where our families are very close, and we've talked about this for years. If anything, Guy's been the one that has always kept me between, keeping my head on straight and realizing what's important, and between him and between our faith and my friends and my wife, and always keeping me very, very focused on where our priorities need to be, and he's always been a part of kind of what our plan was over time, and been a very, very big part of this decision. We've had numerous conversations in the late night hours, and number one, making the decision that's right for our family, and then also exploring all the ways in which we needed to, and what we could do to make sure it was positive for everybody. So he's a very, very big part of this decision, and supportive of it 100%. And I think, in all honesty, if you asked him, he'd probably tell you that he's excited for what the future holds for our family and everybody that's been part of Elite Racing.
I've got to ask you this question because it's out there, so I'm just going to throw it at you. How much did this decision, how much play came in with Stevie Smith and the second team? I mean, obviously, you'd have to be a part of that. You would have to help with that team, everything that goes into doing, all the maintenance and everything that goes on with a couple cars. How did that affect your decision?
It was probably something that led to quite a few of the discussions, but the unraveling of that was kind of a whole separate thing, and it was unfortunate. But the great part is I know that Chris is putting together a team that is going to be. I think him and Chad Clemens are putting together a team for Stevie, which I know they'll do well, and certainly he'll take a lot of the principles from what we had here and be able to utilize those as well as the staff that we had here. So I think that should turn out really well for everybody, and we're excited for them and wish them all the best. And like I said, everything happens for a reason in life. Whether good or bad, you always try to take everything and make a positive out of it. And we've worked really hard to do that with all the situations we've been faced with this winter.
Jason, the fact that you are a two-time defending World of Outlaw champion, does that make it more difficult or less difficult to make this decision going out on top?
Well, I mean, it's a difficult situation no matter how you look at it. It's definitely a tough decision, but fortunately, we were blessed with a great opportunity and the ability and with 2 championships. I mean, it's something that was always our goal, and we achieved it not only once but twice and in succession. So it certainly feels like if I hadn't done that and I was walking away from the sport today, I would feel like I was quitting. But the fact that we did achieve our goals not once but twice, I don't have that feeling that we're quitting, because we're not. We're moving on to the next thing in our lives, and we set out to accomplish our goals. If you look at our very first sponsorship proposal 8 years ago when we started Elite Racing, the mission statement was that we want to build a team that's capable of winning the World of Outlaw Championship and providing great opportunities for sponsors and partners. And I feel that we did that. I feel that we achieved our mission statement, and feel very, very good about that, and proud, and honestly, at the end of the day, proud of what we did and fulfilled, and very excited to move on to what the next chapter of our life will be.
You're still a relatively young man. Do you ever see yourself strapping back into a sprint car someday? You leave open the possibility that maybe not the full World of Outlaw Tour down the road, but that you could find your way back into a race car at some point.
Yeah, I don't think you can ever take it out of your blood. I mean, of course, I've had quite a few phone calls on that to run some one-off stuff already, and we're not making any decisions yet. But I don't think you can ever take this out of your life. I think it's always something we'll hope to be involved in, and I hope to be involved in the sport in other ways. And I don't know what those ways are yet. We've got to get everything. Right now, we've got a 14-race tour that we want to do a good job on, and when that wraps up, we'll look at what our options are to be involved on other levels. And the option will certainly be open to drive something at some point. But for me, the making a living at sprint car racing and do it professionally is no longer my goal. Now my goal is to reprioritize our life and put God and family and our life in that order, and do something different that allows us to reprioritize and put our family first. And then if the option comes up to run a sprint car on a weekend or somewhere, we certainly would take the opportunity to be involved, because it is a great sport. We do love it, and like I said, I don't think you can ever take it completely out of your life.
You bring something up, and I've got to ask you. I think I read on a forum somewhere, and I wasn't there, so forgive me if I'm wrong on this, but did you make mention, I think it was at the Talladega Short Track, did you make mention that, you would still be interested in going down south and maybe attempting a shot at NASCAR? I mean, you talked with the family and all. That would be a difficult decision if somebody was to come along, because we know it pays well down there if you can make it. We know that. But is that something that would still come into play maybe down the road after your daughter, a couple years of being with her? Would you entertain the thought of that?
Absolutely. Yeah, I don't think I could turn that opportunity down. That was always a dream of mine that as of today I never quite made it to. So, yeah, should that opportunity come along, it would definitely be something we'd be interested in. That being said, we would certainly have to, once again, our priority is family first. So if we could work that into it. And I think when you get into that, I think because of the status of it and the earnings that you do make, you can afford those opportunities that allow you to still keep your family involved. And the tough part about what we do is there is all the travel, and we're not talking about travel on a jet. We're talking about up and down the road and late nights and just such a difficult life that you can't drag your family along for that. So should that opportunity present itself, it'd certainly be something that we would look at, and as long as we could do that with not jeopardizing our family life, then we would certainly pursue it.
Do you have a favorite among these California racetracks you're going to be closing this 14-race tour on? Tulare, Silver Dollar, Merced, Calistoga, favorite among those tracks and where you've done the best?
Absolutely. Tulare's always been a favorite. It's close to home for me. I love the facility there, and the people do such a great job. It's has always been a favorite, and very much looking forward to racing there here this coming March.
Is Knoxville the one unfinished business? You came close to winning the Knoxville Nationals, but that will always be in the back of your mind, I'm sure.
Yeah, it is. It is the one piece of unfinished business that we were not able to put that trophy on our shelf. But we did have some good runs there. I do love Knoxville, and who knows, maybe that's one someday I can still put the helmet back on for.
All right, Jason, we're kind of a little bit ASCS guys around here. We do all the National Tour broadcast on our website. This will be our 4th year doing it. We're excited about the 65 races. First of all, that's going to be crazy because you've been doing that a long time. We haven't been doing 65 races on the National Tour for a long time. With all that being said, we're going to be out there quite a bit in the Northwest in July. Any chance you getting in a 360 and maybe coming out and running a one-off deal with you? Talk about Tulare, we're going to Placerville. We're going to a lot of great tracks, Cottage Grove, some pretty neat venues out that way.
Yeah, you certainly never know. Right now we don't have a lot of answers on what we're doing next because we've got our plate full with what we're trying to finish up right now. But
right.
As I elaborated before, there's there's always that opportunity, and certainly we love the sport, and whether it's putting a helmet on or showing up at a track or helping somebody else achieve their goals, we certainly hope to be involved in the sport.
All right. Jason, thanks so much for taking the time, and sorry I had to throw that little ASCS thing in there at the end. That's just how we roll around here. So appreciate you taking the time. Good luck with the family and the 14-race All-Star Appreciation Tour. We recommend all the fans get out there and say hi to you in those final 14 races, and I'm sure you're going to do a great tribute to all the sponsors that you've had over the course of your career.
It is. It's this All-Star Appreciation Tour is really, we're excited about it. All the folks that have gotten behind it from All-Star and Tarleton and Son, KRC Safety, and so many others. Some of our sponsors from years ago that haven't been involved the last few years, but still fans, they've stepped up to get involved, and we're going to have some new apparel for it for the fans, and just I urge everybody to come down, spend some time. We're really looking to have fun with this and get to spend time with everybody and just really, really enjoy these 14 races that we're going to run and do a great job for all of our sponsors and everybody that supported us and continues to support us through this tour.
All right, Jason. Thanks so much for your time.
Thank you.
Thank you, Jason.
All right, that's Jason Meyers. And Kirk, huge blow for the World of Outlaws. Let's face it.
It is.
It's a two-time champion. He's back-to-back champion, 2010, 2011. The guy, just going off the top of my head, he gets 9, 10, 11, 12 wins a year when it comes to the World of Outlaws. And I know he has a large fan base that follow him. You still have a lot of the name brand guys there. But let's face it, guys like Steve Kinzer, Sammy Swindell, and the list goes on, a handful of the top guys in the World of Outlaws, they are getting close to the end of their career. And I'm sure the World of Outlaws were putting a lot of stock into a guy like Jason Meyers, who still had, 15, 20 years left to go. They need guys like that to create the new Steve Kinzers, the new Danny Lasoskis and the Sammy Swindells of the world. So I'm sure the World of Outlaws is a little disappointed at this time right now.
Yeah, it is a huge loss. And, you're talking about the two-time defending champion of the series and a relatively young guy, and he has a lot of star quality. So he will not be replaced out there on that World Outlaws Tour.
That is for sure. All right, we're going to take a break. When we come back, we'll take your phone calls, 913-381-810. More Track Talk brought to you by McCarthy Chevrolet when we come back.